Tonight, changing tactics.
It's still pretty messy out here.
Local road crews working with what they've got amid a salt shortage.
Even with winter tires, I still find myself slipping around.
Plus, 2 homicides in a matter of weeks. The police investigation in the Old East Village after a fatal shooting.
Things like this, are only add to the disappointment, and it's disheartening.
And the love of the game knows no age limit.
I don't think any 80-year-old team has competed at this level before.
We introduce you to London's most senior hockey squad.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a request from city officials to drive cautiously for the rest of the winter. That's because London is dealing with a province-wide shortage of road salt. In response, city crews are adjusting their road clearing operations. With more on that, here's Brian Bicknell.
Snowy, windy and slippery on London area roads. But you don't have to tell flatbed tow truck operator Josh Borton.
The roads are a little bit crazy. I've been pretty busy for the last, 6 or 7 hours, pulling people out of the ditch.
London drivers began the work week navigating city streets that have taken a pummeling from Mother Nature. Some making note of the roads being even more slippery than normal after a major winter event.
Pretty difficult, even with winter tires, I still find myself slipping around.
It's still pretty messy out here, despite the fact that plows and stuff have probably already been out.
The city finds itself having to ration its road salt usage. Because of a province-wide supply shortage, crews are plowing major roads more frequently to reduce the need for salt. That means side streets are taking longer to get to. Crews are also using more sand with salt to reduce salt usage.
The conditions the last few days are probably not what people would expect after a storm because they're used to that's those salt applications and the little warmer temps. So just give yourself a little buffer, a little more stopping distance.
Meanwhile, OPP posted a video of a closed section of Highway 402 Monday morning with Constable Jeff Hare demonstrating just how slippery it is.
When I do this, it's a sheet of ice out here.
And of course, it's not just the roads. Sidewalk clearing operations are obviously having a hard time keeping up as well. This is Wellington Road South at midday. Pretty brutal.
Some of the sidewalks are cleared well, and parts of the sidewalks aren't. There is ice underneath, okay? So I haven't fallen too often, okay?
Not too
3
often.
times over the winter.
1,900 lane kilometers of sidewalks throughout the city, so it does take 24 to 48 hours after a long 2-day snow system like we just had. So we just exercise some patience. Let us get to the work.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Meanwhile, what's considered the largest salt mine in the world is just a few hours north of London. Company officials in Goderich say they've been operating below capacity in recent years because that's what the market demanded. However, as Scott Miller reports, the market has now changed dramatically.
Over 100 trucks are lined up outside the Goderich salt mine today, stretching all the way up North Harbour Road onto Highway 21. It's been like this for weeks, say locals, as the province grapples with a salt shortage. The mine, the largest salt mine in the world, is shipping de-icing salt as quickly as they can mine it these days, they say, thanks to one of the most severe winters in a long time. With the significant impact of winter weather compared to recent seasons, the entire road salt supply chain continues to experience high demand for de-icing salt. At Compass Minerals, we are actively working to fulfill all current orders, prioritizing shipments for our municipal clients, says Compass Minerals in a written statement. Goderich's salt mine produces about 7.25 million tons of salt each year, but has the capacity to mine 9 million tons. In 2024, Compass curtailed production of salt to align inventory with business conditions, which means instead of having huge stockpiles of salt sitting in inventory, they decided to produce salt more on an as-needed basis. Well, it's needed now, as de-icing salt has quickly become the most valuable commodity this winter.
We got 33 skids in yesterday, and I'm down to 12 already today.
From in November, prices being $132 a ton, we're up to $290. So the overall price is about a 220% from where it was originally.
The trucks, train and boats loading salt in Goderich today are dealing mostly with municipalities who are also talking about curtailing or at least closely monitoring their salt supplies as they try to keep roads passable during one of the toughest winters in years. Without sharing specifics, Compass says they're ramping up production as best they can to meet the constant and growing demand for their granules of snow melting magic. We are focused on moving product as efficiently as possible while also maximizing daily output from our Goderich mine to ensure optimal full-season inventory availability across our network. We remain committed to serving all our valued customers in Ontario and all the markets that we serve. The lineups aren't likely to end anytime soon here at the world's largest salt mine in Goderich. There is more snow and more cold weather on the way, which means salt will be at a premium probably all winter long. In Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The weather has complicated salt distribution this season, with truckers navigating persistent heavy snowfall. A snow squall set up over Lake Huron today, dropping more snow on Goderich. There's blowing snow in the forecast for the next couple days as well across much of Midwestern Ontario. With more on the weather story, here's Julie Atchison.
Thanks so much, Carlyle, and good evening, everyone. Cold temperatures across the area. We do have a cold weather warning in effect tonight that stretches all the way from Windsor through London and east towards Toronto, and snow squalls continuing in parts of Midwestern Ontario, including Bruce County with blowing snow. We do have squall action right now coming through Kincardine in and around Goderich, but we are seeing a little bit of a lull in the activity, and I am expecting the squalls to be winding down. But blowing snow is a major issue on area highways tonight with gusty winds. Those wind chills approaching -25 to -30 as we head through the overnight. Temperatures outside right now from -9 to -11. Kitchener-Waterloo about -13, and the wind chills reading right now from -15 to about -20. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. I'm tracking another clipper that'll be coming into the area as we head into tomorrow morning with some more accumulating snowfall right across the region, and we'll look at some snow squalls setting up in behind this system, and cold waves continue to move through. I'll have all your local weather details in just a few minutes.
Thanks very much, Julie. London police are investigating a weekend shooting in the Old East Village that's turned into the city's second homicide this month. With the latest on that case, here's Lauren Stallone.
Safety is top of mind following an overnight shooting in the 700 block of Dundas Street Sunday.
We have an element of individuals that hang out and spend their time in the Old East Village, and until we combat that problem, these problems are going to continue.
London police say they arrived on scene shortly after 4 a.m. and located 2 victims who had sustained gunshot wounds.
One person has since been declared deceased, and a second person was transported to London Health Sciences Centre, where they are receiving treatment.
This marks the second homicide of 2026 in London, both occurring in the Old East Village.
We're working hard to improve the area, and things like this, are only add to the disappointment, and it's disheartening.
The Old East Village BIA is concerned about the future of businesses in the area and is calling on the City of London to address the mental health crisis.
We are having social services that are doing the best they can with what they have, but they are not equipped to be dealing with the individuals that they are serving.
Kevin Morrison with the BIA says mental health and addiction is at the heart of the issue.
It's way too expensive to, build and open up psychiatric hospitals again, but smaller treatment centers is certainly a way to go.
The Palace Theatre, located on Dundas Street, took to social media saying it is committed to working with the city and local leaders to ensure the safety of our neighbors, volunteers, and patrons is not just prioritized but made manifest.
We are dedicating as much resources as we possibly can to ensure obviously that we bring this to a safe conclusion and ensure the safety of the citizens of London.
Police are asking anyone with dashcam footage to come forward. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Few details from police on a multi-day investigation near Western University. Officers have been on scene since Saturday morning, and as Rita Ismail reports, nearby residents say they're growing concerned.
London police aren't saying much about why officers have been stationed in this University Heights neighborhood for days.
This is not the norm, that's for sure.
Residents say police have been on scene outside this home on Chesham Avenue since early Saturday morning, something they say is out of the ordinary.
7 police vehicles at one point, and there's always somebody on site 24 hours a day.
Just before noon on Monday, police blocked off the road to traffic. A bobcat was brought onto the property, followed by city crews salting the area around the home. In the backyard, a tent could be seen, with police remaining on site. The heavy police presence has also caught the attention of nearby students.
I live just down the street, and I'm not like too concerned, but like I'm just skeptical, like why are there police cars in the area? And also some of the buildings on campus, there's been a bigger police presence.
Which buildings?
The engineering buildings.
Over the weekend, London police confirmed officers were also on scene at nearby Western University, responding to reports of a trespasser on school property. Police say one individual remains in custody. In a statement to CTV News, Western University says all engineering buildings were closed Saturday due to an active police investigation. It remains unclear whether the two investigations are connected. London police say there is no risk to public safety, but for nearby residents, questions remain.
Being told the public's not at risk, but obviously something significant is going on.
Police say the investigation is ongoing. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Emergency crews responded to a vehicle fire this afternoon in the city's southeast. This was on Kingsbridge Street. According to emergency responders, equipment inside a van caught fire, which engulfed the vehicle and spread to the garage. Fire officials say they extinguished the flames quickly once they arrived, limiting damage to the home, and no injuries were reported. London fire crews are crediting working smoke alarms with saving the lives of several people from a house fire in the city's East End this weekend. With more on that, here's Brent Lale.
Smoke alarms save lives.
A London family is lucky to be alive.
The smoke alarms alerted the tenants and they woke up by them and evacuated the house.
Early Saturday morning, fire broke out in the basement of a home on Marineland Ave in the East End of the city.
The crews encountered heavy smoke when we entered the building. They went to go to the basement. They were forced back from the heat.
With zero visibility because of the smoke, firefighters exited and discovered from the exterior the fire was in the bedroom. They had trouble because of a cluttered basement and many combustible items.
They had to go around behind the stairs to get to the bedroom, and there was a pool table in the way, and there was a lot of clutter in there. They got through that, and they found the seat of the fire, and it was a bedroom in the basement that was pretty much consumed by fire.
The residents had evacuated, and police and EMS were on scene. 3 of the 4 people inside the home were taken to hospital with CO and smoke inhalation. A fire inspector is on scene looking for the cause and origin of the blaze, while London police officers stand by to hear the results of his investigation before determining their next steps. District Chief Todd Rainey had a couple of messages after leaving the scene.
You definitely want to have clear paths to the basement, especially if you have people sleeping in the basement. There was a bedroom down there, and that person was lucky to get out of the bedroom.
The other is the importance of working smoke alarms.
It did save 4 lives today.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Aylmer police say they've charged a father of a teenage boy after a home was shot up last week. They say a bullet flew through a window January 20th while residents were inside. According to police, 3 teenage suspects were found at a home nearby and a rifle was seized. The father is charged with careless gun storage. London's new cold weather response for homelessness is facing criticism after City Hall failed to open the Boyle Community Centre on some bitterly cold nights.
Grown men and women crying in our donut shop because of the trauma of being outside all night after walking to Boyle.
Do you remember my friend Olivia, who burned alive trying to stay warm in a tent? Do you remember my friend Blue, who fell asleep in the cold and woke up with his leg amputated? Or how about the girl who froze to death in front of our library?
In September, Council agreed to open the community centre on nights when temperatures drop below -15 and wind chill values below -20. But city staff didn't open the warming centre on several nights when only one of those temperatures was reached. So the committee recommends spending up to $290,000 to open an additional 20 times whenever Environment Canada issues a weather warning or either temperature is reached.
If this is a true emergency, we need to start considering opening up all available spaces. There are people on the street in OEV because they can't go inside. Why don't we open the doors and let them in?
London hockey players are heading to the Ontario Senior Winter Games next week, each of them more than 80 years old. As Sean Irvin reports, once they hit the ice, they'll actually set a record.
On the ice and on the bench, this squad of senior hockey players is full of team spirit.
Go get him, Jamie!
London senior hockey, once known as Huff and Puff, has welcomed players into their 80s and a few into their 90s. But when the most senior in this recreational group decided to form their own over 80 competitive team, they ran into a problem. While submitting an application for the Ontario 55-plus Winter Games in Huntsville, the team found out they will be in a league of their own.
This is groundbreaking for us because I don't think any 80-year-old team has competed at this level before.
Games officials confirm it is a first. So, with no one else to play in their age group, the London team had to agree to face off against kids in their 70s. The thought doesn't scare this 81-year-old defenseman.
Oh, yeah. I said immediately, put me on.
The declaration is not surprising, as most have been playing for 3/4 of a century.
I think I got my first pair of skates when I was 4.
I'm just the type of person that has to keep busy, and I've always played all kinds of sports.
The team will be coached by Brian Laporte, but as a young pup of 72, he does know his place.
You can't teach old dogs anything. Dude, come on.
Laughs aside, Brian, who is the convener of the LSH, takes pride in heading up a squad of senior hockey stars. He's optimistic that other players at the games will see them and opt to create their own 80-plus teams in time for the 2028 edition of the games.
Hopefully that's an inspiration for Ontario Senior Games.
Some, like John, a survivor of 2 heart attacks, have certainly taken on bigger challenges. It's partly why he was chosen to dub the team the War Years.
War Years, W-A-R-Y-E-A-R-S, because most of us were born in the war years.
And for that reason, young players are forewarned that this group is not about to let you carry a puck by them without a little chip shot.
Coincidental contact, I guess. Yeah.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
When we come back, an emphasis on affordability, the federal government's relief efforts intended to help Canadians under the most financial pressure. Plus, shovels out across Ontario while the same storm system closes in on the Maritimes.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. Members of Parliament return to work today after their 6-week holiday break. The government's first order of business announcing a GST rebate for groceries. Mike Couture has more on the initiative and who will benefit.
So we're acting today.
Choosing to be in a produce store instead of Parliament, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced new measures to tackle the affordability crisis. The Liberal government is renaming the GST credit the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit and raising it by 25% for 5 years. With an additional one-time payment this year, the average family of 4 will get nearly $2,000 in 2026 and $1,400 each of the following years. The measure is expected to help 12 million low-income Canadians.
On average, these payments make up for the higher level of food prices since the pandemic.
Carney also laid out a new national food security strategy to strengthen domestic food production and improve access to nutritious food. The GST measures aren't new, according to the Conservatives.
Today's announcement is a recycled Trudeau-era policy. It will not permanently provide relief. It is a temporary measure.
The focus on pocketbook issues is a clear response to the #1 concern of Canadians, according to this pollster.
That's going to be the battleground for the next federal election, and it's going to be the key way that Canadians judge both Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre.
With a campaign-style announcement today, it had some wondering if Canadians could be headed to the polls this spring.
Of course we're not. We're not. We're focused on results for Canadians.
That includes the GST boost announced today. The minority government will need opposition support to pass the bill before the benefit can get into the hands of Canadians. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Mark Carney also met with Premier Doug Ford today, their first sit-down since the Prime Minister signed a trade deal with China, much to the Premier's chagrin. With more on that conversation, here's Abigail Beeman.
We're going to put on his tab.
Pizza topped with pleasantries.
Very productive meeting. Very productive. It's all about Team Canada.
But the Premier has been highly critical of the Prime Minister's trip to China and what Doug Ford called a terrible deal to allow 49,000 Chinese EVs into Canada in exchange for lower canola tariffs.
Did you guys make up? Well, I never had a problem. And yeah, is there differences? Sure there is. But I can tell you one thing. We agree on 99% of the stuff.
Ford said autos were about one of 5 topics discussed. While the Prime Minister hasn't shared much about talks with the U.S. President, as CUSMA, the North American Free Trade Deal, is up for review this year. Over the weekend, Donald Trump took several swipes at Canada on Truth Social, relaunching his old insult for Justin Trudeau, calling Carney governor, a 51st state reference.
In this role, you get called a lot of things, a lot of time, and I'm not going to comment on every tweet or truth or comment from whoever, so I can handle it.
Before question period, the minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade did offer a rare glimpse into the talks.
We have a narrow trade arrangement.
Saying he reinforced to U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, Canada is not pursuing a free trade deal with China, which the president is wildly warning against.
I was reassured that Ambassador Greer understood very clearly what the agreement is and what it's not. And what was reassuring is his clear desire to work with us and Mexico in terms of a review of CUSMA.
Dominic LeBlanc spoke about speaking again with Greer later this week and meeting in the next few weeks. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A weekend weather system buried parts of Ontario, closing schools and canceling flights today. In Toronto, the Sunday storm brought up to 60 centimeters of snow. With more on the efforts to get it all cleared, here's John Venevali-Rao.
In downtown Toronto, this was the scene many drivers woke up to, warned to stay off the streets. A directive that wasn't hard to follow because just getting to a main road required a lot of shoveling.
For Toronto, it's shocking, to be honest.
In a city once ridiculed for calling in the army to help clear snow, this was, by any standard, a lot to cope with, smashing records that go back more than 80 years.
It was crazy. Like, we haven't had storms like that in a long time.
In some parts of downtown Toronto, 56 centimeters fell, with the city by far getting the worst of the snow, fueled by its proximity to Lake Ontario and the wind direction.
I don't think I've ever recalled a storm where the heaviest amount of snow was in Toronto when a storm hit the entire province, like from Windsor to Ottawa.
A storm that closed schools with kids getting a snow day and residents asked to stay home if they could. In Kitchener, so much snow was piled up on the side of an overpass. It acted like a ramp, which a pair of cars hit and launched over, one of them flipping and landing on the ground below, killing the driver. At Pearson Airport, where they also got walloped by record snow, airlines were in recovery mode after hundreds of flights were canceled on Sunday, and there were plenty more delays today.
I understand it's the weather, and safety comes first.
A storm that moved into Quebec and onto the Maritimes, where as much as 40 centimeters of snow is expected to fall in Nova Scotia by Tuesday. And in many parts of the Maritimes, schools were also closed. At Halifax's airport, dozens of flights were canceled. As for Toronto, this is now the snowiest January on record, triple the average amount, and there's still 5 days left in the month. John Benavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
A community in upstate New York was the site of a rare weather event this weekend. Mother Nature crafting snowballs. A combination of snow and strong winds created these so-called snow rollers in the town of Chile, New York. They're described as tumbleweeds, but made of snow, littering an entire neighborhood. And yes, Chile, New York, Julie, that's what it's called, living up to its name, I think, although it's spelled like the comfort food, which I could kind of go for these days.
Yeah, this time of year, when temperatures drop, we get lots of snowfall, people like to kind of hunker down and think about like warm things, fires, chili, perhaps. Definitely packing a punch this weekend. We have some weather watches and warnings, but here's a look at the total snowfall from the system that moved through over the weekend. As you heard, Toronto being hammered by it. London really not being brushed by this system with about 17 centimeters of snowfall. Towards St. Thomas, picking up higher amounts, 20 plus centimeters in and around Woodstock as well, 15 to 20 centimeters in the region. It was cold out there today, that's for sure. Our high temperature coming in at -10, our low -16. The cold warning, we'll see wind chills tonight from -25 to -30. Bitterly cold air moving through and waves of cold in the forecast. On the hour, and we're now at -10. The winds out of the west and blowing snow is an issue. Snow squalls have continued downwind of Lake Huron through the day today. As we head into tomorrow, the winds will be out of the southwest and we are expecting them to stay gusty. That means that any snow that is, of course, fallen on those snowbanks and that's not hard packed is whipping around the highways. So please be careful. Icy conditions out there. Leave yourself lots of extra time and lots of extra space to stop. We do have an area of high pressure that's ridging its way in tonight in advance of our Clipper system that is developing off to the northwest. So you saw the Maritimes, is lots of snowfall has moved into that area. The low pressure system that brought our snow over the weekend has moved eastward. This Clipper comes in tomorrow, winds out of the southwest to start, and then the cold front will cross and winds will shift northwest. So we do have another area of snowfall on the way. Tonight, overnight, slight risk for flurries, but not expecting any accumulation. It'll be first thing in the morning where we could see some light accumulation under 5 centimeters. We are expecting about 1 to 2 centimeters as we push past 4 a.m. until about 6 a.m. and then just overcast with the chance of flurries. The cold front will follow and then lake effect snow will develop downwind of Lake Huron as we head into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. So flurries will continue. Temperature wise, yes, very cold air will follow this next Clipper. So briefly tomorrow we'll see the temperature come up a bit in the afternoon, but tomorrow night overnight lows will be the coldest over the next 7, colder than tonight. So as we take a look at snowfall over the next 24 hours, you can see in London really reading on the lower end, so trace amounts. But as we head to that shoreline of Lake Huron, upwards of 10 centimeters in some areas. So in total, London could see a couple centimeters through mid-morning, and then overcast, and then heading into the evening another couple centimeters. Forecast high tomorrow coming in at just a -8, and the winds shifting to the northwest after lunchtime. So starting in the morning at -15 with the wind chill close to about -30. In terms of forecast for the rest of the week, snow producers not so for Wednesday. We do have some sunshine on the way. Beautiful conditions, although it will be very frigid first thing in the morning. The overnight low around -19 to -20, and again with a wind chill close to -30. Flurries in the forecast Thursday and Friday with daytime highs from -12 to -13. This time of year we should be at about -3. Overnight lows, as you can see, anywhere from -17 to -21. Saturday into Sunday expecting a mix of sun and cloud. Now interestingly enough, Lake Huron is about 53% ice covered, so that will have an impact on snow squalls as we move through the rest of the week. So that is above average, well above. So in terms of that ice continuing to freeze over, that should help to shut down some of the squall activity. However, flurries and snow squalls expected for this week with bitterly cold temperatures. Nice looking weekend. calmer conditions for travel, which is good news, and daytime highs from about -6 to -9. So frigid air mass, what rounds of this cold coming in Carlyle. So tomorrow, this next clipper will introduce another push of cold air coming in tomorrow night. We have that cold weather warning with wind chills again in the coming days between about -20 to -30.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, how to avoid a pump and dump scam as fraudsters co-opt legitimate brands to boost bogus stocks. Another London beer store is closing. According to a media release from the beer store, the facility at Richmond and Fanshawe Park Road in Masonville will close March 22nd. The announcement also includes closures of individual stores in Brampton, Etobicoke, and Hamilton. The beer store's statement indicates officials are focused on meeting evolving consumer needs. A warning about an online scam where criminals are creating fake websites and forums using logos from real financial institutions promising big returns. However, as Pat Foran reports, they're actually operating what's called a pump and dump fraud.
So when you moved your money into Wealthsimple, how quickly did this ad pop up on Instagram?
Almost immediately after.
Israel Clyde of Richmond Hill had his investments with a major Canadian bank, but recently, due to a promotion, he decided to move his funds to Wealthsimple. The transfer went smoothly. After he made the switch, he was on Instagram when he saw a Wealthsimple offer to take part in an online trading platform on how to make money in the stock market.
Those ads had the Wealthsimple name and the logo. It looked legitimate from Wealthsimple.
Clyde says the trading group suggested he buy a stock. He did, and within days, he doubled his money.
I sold the stock, but actually made $14,000 on this transaction. So I was like, oh, wow.
Clyde felt the advice must be trustworthy, so he made a much larger investment. But this time, things went bad fast.
As soon as I bought it on that day, 5 minutes later, the stock tanked. It went from $1.68 US to 10 cents at the time, and I just panicked.
He was caught in a pump and dump scam and lost $260,000. When he tried to contact the forum again, it was shut down.
Tried to get into the group chat, everything was gone. Like the phone numbers looked like they just were erased.
Wealthsimple told CTV News, Wealthsimple reported more than 10,000 fraudulent ads to Meta, and we're only one of many financial institutions fighting this issue. Wealthsimple will never recommend specific stocks or securities to buy. To avoid pump and dump scams, don't listen to social media investment tips or hype through online forums. Be concerned if there is limited company information, promises of guaranteed returns, or unusual trading spikes or dips. Losing $260,000 means he now has to rethink his retirement plans.
For 2 weeks, I wasn't able to sleep. It was very upsetting, very upsetting.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Gold stocks led the way, but Canada's main stock index reversed course this afternoon, finishing lower today. The TSX dropped 52 points. In New York, the Dow gained 314, the Nasdaq added 100. The Canadian dollar gained 0.16 of a cent on commodity markets. Gold broke the $5,000 U.S. mark with a $100 gain, while oil fell 44 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, in the dead of winter, rehearsals heating up. We look ahead to the 2026 Stratford Festival season and an unprecedented double production approach. Welcome back. Health officials in Saskatchewan have installed security checkpoints at major hospitals in response to growing concerns over violence directed at healthcare staff. Alison Bamford reports.
Walking into Saskatoon's emergency departments now looks a little like airport security.
Everyone who walks through the doors of a Saskatchewan healthcare facility deserves to feel safe.
This week, the Saskatchewan Health Authority installed metal detectors in all Saskatoon and Regina emergency departments. The move follows a letter from more than 200 ER staff in Saskatoon describing escalating violence, and a pilot project that seized crowbars, machetes, and imitation guns from people trying to enter Royal University Hospital.
one weapon coming into our facility would be too many.
Additional security will be hired to help staff the metal detectors and ensure patients can flow through the entrances quickly. Saskatchewan isn't the first province turning to technology to address growing safety concerns. ER departments in Ontario and Manitoba, including Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre, already use weapon detectors.
A metal detector is a great start, but it is not the only solution to these problems.
A 2025 survey from the Canadian Federation of Nurses Unions found 6 in 10 nurses experienced violence on the job. Healthcare unions say changes to security staffing, training, and policies are still needed.
The fact is that there's chaos everywhere you look in our healthcare system.
The government also ordered an independent review of hospital safety and security for the entire province. Saskatchewan's health minister would like to see it done quickly, but gave no timeline for how long it might take. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
There are calls in Minnesota for an independent investigation into another fatal shooting at the hands of federal ICE agents. With more from Minneapolis, here's Nouveau's Sabrina Rive.
So I am standing right here where Alex Preddy was killed last weekend. So let me just show you the memorial so you can see all the floral tributes and the messages left in memory of the 37-year-old nurse. Citizens are coming here to pay their respect. There is a lot of solidarity. In fact, many residents fear that if the investigation is led by the federal government via the FBI, justice will never be served. Let's hear from some of the people I spoke with on the ground.
I'm here because we saw this terrible video of this young man being shot in the middle of the street while he's on the ground. Obviously, we can't allow that ever to happen in the United States of America. So we all need to help all these people in Minneapolis stand up to this craziness.
The signs are everywhere here in the streets in Minneapolis. In addition to the outgoing protests, graffiti can be seen on buildings, benches, and bus shelters calling for immigration police to leave the city. Last night, protesters gathered in front of a hotel where ICE agents were reportedly staying. We will continue to follow this story. From Minneapolis, Sabrina Rive for Nouveau Info.
Canada's Arctic security has been called into question in recent weeks related to tensions over Greenland. But as Heather Wright reports, there's another concern impacting our sovereignty and transforming the far north.
The barrels are underneath. You can't see them.
This is home for Darren Boutillier.
Come on, let's go.
He lives in one of about 30 houses on Great Slave Lake in Yellowknife, which float in the summer and sit on the ice during the winter. And over the last several years, he's seen firsthand the impacts of climate change in the north.
It's been huge. I mean, we're a dry, arid area anyways, but we've had so much less rain in the last few years. The lake has actually dropped anywhere from 4 to 6 feet.
The Arctic is warming faster than any other part of the planet, causing dramatic sea ice loss, thawing permafrost, and more extreme weather. According to Canada's Arctic foreign policy, climate change is considered the most pressing threat to Canada's security in the Arctic and the people who live here.
The biggest thing is the disappearance of the ice, which will generate increased harvesting of natural resources in the north, as well as maritime traffic.
Pierre LeBlanc is the former commander of Canadian Forces Northern Area. He says climate change will further intensify geopolitical competition by opening up shipping routes and creating more access to resource development, underlining the need for more surveillance.
Projects are being developed as we speak to increase our ability to not only monitor the Canadian Arctic, but also to deal with issues should they happen.
And as the climate warms, we're seeing very, very dramatic changes to the landscape.
Experts say security surveillance also needs to include environmental monitoring.
If we have a strong knowledge base, we're in a position of strength. And that creates resilience and strength and security within our infrastructure corridors and for our northern communities.
While a warming Arctic presents economic opportunity here in the Arctic, it will also disrupt the delicate ecosystem and the people who live here, with advocates calling for stricter environmental protections. Heather Wright, CTV News, Yellowknife.
A prominent local activist for the queer community has died. Richard Hudler founded the AIDS Committee of London and was a former president of the gay and lesbian organization HALO. Hudler filed a complaint in 1995 with the Ontario Human Rights Commission after a majority of city councillors refused to issue a proclamation celebrating Pride ceremonies. The commission eventually ruled against the city councillors' decision. Hudler was 84 years old. Officials with Marineland say they have received federal approval to relocate their remaining animals. According to a statement from the shuttered theme park, the approval is conditional to send 30 beluga whales and 4 dolphins to facilities in the U.S. Had approval not been granted, Marineland officials had said they likely would have to kill the animals. The federal fisheries minister said more information would be required from Marineland before final approval is granted.
Flurries and blowing snow and waves of cold Arctic air continue to encompass the Great Lakes. A weak clipper system on the move tomorrow will bring some gusty winds with an area of light snowfall. Expect blowing snow as you head out the door. Temperatures through the week well below normal. Daytime highs 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of year, and frigidly cold wind chills. Thank you so much, Assad, for sending this photo in. This one taken at Colchester Beach. Hold on and bundle up as we head through the next 7. Daytime highs averaging well below normal.
Talk of separation is heating up in a pair of Canadian provinces. It's becoming a simmering political debate that goes against the messaging from the Prime Minister. With more, here's Kathy Lee.
Beneath the calm of Main Street in this small Alberta town, the minds of many people who live here are anything but at rest. And in this place, those thoughts are loud enough to hear.
Alberta separating? Yeah. 100%.
Jeff Olson, a business owner in Innisfail, says he's frustrated with Ottawa's treatment of Alberta.
The job of the West is to keep the East prosperous. They've made that very, very clear.
While some polls point to the majority of Albertans not wanting to break from Canada, noise surrounding separatism across the province louder in recent weeks, as the group Stay Free Alberta circulates a petition for a referendum question on whether the province should leave Canada to be an independent state.
An independent Alberta will be able to function with zero income tax, right? Zero carbon tax, zero capital gains tax.
Several First Nations groups, though, already launching legal action to stop the petition from moving forward. But in a province hundreds of kilometers away, the idea of separation is back in play. At a key party convention this weekend, the Parti Québécois rallying supporters around the prospect of Quebec independence, as the party leads in some polls ahead of an election in October. This as the Prime Minister called for national unity last week following the World Economic Forum.
There are literally billions of people who aspire to what we have built. An economy that delivers broadly shared prosperity.
But at least in Alberta, the sentiment doesn't align with some.
I think a referendum would push more of an actual honest discussion about sovereignty and like what Alberta is able to do with what we have.
It's certainly important for people to be able to make up their mind what they want to do going forward for Canada.
The group Stay Free Alberta needs to collect just under 178,000 signatures by May 2nd. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Innisfail, Alberta.
Montreal police say a 66-year-old woman was found dead inside her home last night when fire crews performed a wellness check. The check was part of an operation carried out in response to a power outage, which left about 15,000 residents without electricity. First responders say they found the woman unconscious around 6 p.m. and at this point, there's nothing suggesting foul play was involved. They also say an autopsy will take place. The two stars of the popular hockey series heated rivalry carried the Olympic torch today. Hudson Williams and Connor Story took part in the Olympic torch relay in Italy. They play fictional pro hockey players in the show who develop a secret romantic relationship. This year's Winter Games begin February 6th.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Local Tim Hortons outlets have launched a new promotional campaign celebrating a London connection to the upcoming moon mission. The fast food chain is changing the name of Timbits to Moonbits, honoring London-born astronaut Jeremy Hansen. The special edition box will be available once the launch date is confirmed. The earliest date for liftoff would be February 6th. Rehearsals are underway for the upcoming Stratford Festival season, and this year organizers are doing something they say they've never done before. They're producing 2 shows on one stage performed by mostly the same cast. With more on how that'll work, here's Jeff Pickle.
That's something rotten. Yeah, that's something rotten. So that's kind of cool.
And I would be this handsome middle-aged character right over here.
First day of rehearsals at Stratford Festival for Something Rotten and Guys and Dolls.
Oh, I haven't seen all of this yet. This is me.
2 shows on one stage with one cast.
What that means for the audience is that you can see one of the musicals, say, in an afternoon, and perhaps the same night, you will see another show with the same cast.
For director Donna Fior, what they are attempting is nothing short of remarkable.
We are doing a unique and one-of-a-kind experience, probably in the world. So you will see an actor do one role, and that's a Renaissance show. That's in Shakespeare times, to Guys and Dolls, which is 1949 New York City.
For the actors, it's a unique challenge.
Well, we'll be in physio a lot. We'll have therapy sessions. It's just a big demand on everybody, physically and mentally.
Guys and Dolls is returning to Stratford after a 9-year wait, but for Something Rotten, it's been just 2 years.
When you've done something and it was a success, does lightning strike twice? Of course it will, and you must come see the show. But you get a little apprehensive sometimes.
Festival leadership say Something Rotten is back due to overwhelming demand. The cast say they are excited for the challenge.
But mostly you're just excited about, okay, so I always wanted to try this. Maybe we can go back and actually do that. Maybe you can add something new here.
As for the challenges of doing 2 very different shows in the same day, it could actually make an actor's life easier.
When you're doing a gig where you're doing the same show twice in one day, that's when you start to get confused, because you hear the music and you're like, wait, did I already do this? No, that was this morning when we did the earlier show. So it's a lot easier to do 2 different shows in one day than the same show.
The first production of Guys and Dolls is April 21st. Something Rotten hits the stage May 11th. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Stratford.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.